First of all, big thanks to Sandy and the rest of the EBS team for inviting me along today to talk to you about full fibre. So here's what we've got in store. So yeah, a bit about full fibre, a bit about switch off. I'm also going to touch on the environment and some of the work that Zen does to try and do our little bit for the planet. So I'll give you a bit of an overview of Zen first of all. So we were, as I say, 30 years in business, founded by our CEO, Richard Tang. We employ 550 people, generate revenues of 110 million. We have a portfolio of connectivity, voice, security and cloud services that we provide nationwide. Have about 200,000 customers now across consumer, business, and through a network of channel partners that we really value. And I think, if I kind of think about Zen, what sets us apart, what makes us different, like EBS, we've got a fantastic team of people. About a third of them have been with us for more than 10 years. So we've got some really experienced, really capable people. And I think we combine those great people with some of the best technology on the market from the likes of Microsoft, Amazon, Cisco, from OpenReach to deliver services to our customers. And we built a great reputation over the years for really focusing on the quality of the service we provide. You might be wondering what this B Corp logo is all about on the screen. So we became a B Corp 4 years ago now. So for those who aren't familiar, that's a movement that came out of the US. There's about 8,000 B Corps globally. So Patagonia, Ben & Jerry's, Octopus Group in the UK. And what we try to do is to use our business as a force for good. So we have a legal requirement to balance all of our stakeholders in any decisions we make. So our customers, our employees, our suppliers, the local community, the environment, and it's something we take really, really seriously. So any decision we make, we try and consider all of those various stakeholders in that decision making. Something, as I say, we're really, really proud of. Okay, so onto the switch off then. So let's have a show of hands first of all, if that's okay. So who's aware of the switch off of the copper network in the UK, phone lines, broadband, etc.? Oh, I've nearly got every hand up. Excellent, that's a good start. And then secondly, who's already migrated all of their phone lines, their ISDN, their broadband lines, so effectively it's all done and dusted and you can relax. Oh yeah, we've got a couple of hands who can relax, wonderful. So yeah, put your feet up. So let's wind the clock back a little bit to 2018. OpenReach announced the switch off of the copper network in the UK, so 6 years ago now. Why were they doing that? I think two key reasons. Firstly, the equipment that is used to maintain and manage that network is becoming very, very old. It's becoming increasingly difficult to obtain parts to maintain the network. And actually, the engineers who manage and maintain the network were starting to retire. And OpenReach didn't want to train up their new people to support this network. So that's the reason they were doing the switch off. I think we've got about 18 months left to go. I make it 425 working days left to get all of our circuits moved across. Still got about 7 million to do, so there's quite a lot left to move. And I think I'd liken this to the experience we went through with COVID. So towards the end of next year, there'll be a frantic rush for everyone to move their remaining phone lines and phone systems and broadband lines across. So I'd urge you all to make sure you don't end up in that kind of last 3 month period where it's a bit frantic and it's a bit tricky. So if you've not already done it, then I'd definitely encourage you to make that switch. We've got a team from Zen here today. We can talk to you about what's involved, how to go about it. Obviously a team from EBS can help too. So yeah, any questions or support you need, please don't hesitate to come and ask us or give us a shout. Okay, so on to full fibre then, and it's really exciting time in the market right now. We're seeing the rollout of full fibre across the UK from OpenReach and a number of others, which I'll come on to talk about. So yeah, actually where have we come from, first of all? And I think it's quite interesting to just take a little bit of a look back. So I've been at Zen for nearly 25 years. I joined in 1999 when we had dial-up internet. So I don't know if any of you remember this, and I'll give you a quick reminder. So let me get my phone out and see if anybody remembers this noise. So here we go. It gets worse. It's unbelievable. So those were the days when you had to say to your parents or your friends, "Can you get off the phone because I need to use internet?" Or "Can you get off the internet because I need to use the phone?" It was, and we delivered 56 kilobits per second. And to put that into context, that's 0.05 megabits per second. So it wasn't great, I'll be honest. So we did that for a few years, and then we launched ADSL. So that gave us 500 kilobits per second. So it was 10 times faster, but it was still 0.5 meg. So it wasn't exactly breathtaking, but it was better. And then that went to 2 meg and then to 8 meg, and then we saw 16 and 20 meg, so that technology evolved. Into the 2010s, we launched fibre to the cabinet. And this was it was a little bit misleading actually, because quite a lot of people sold it as fibre broadband. It's like the clues in the title. It's fibre to the cabinet, and then from the cabinet to the home or business, it's obviously still copper. But we sold it as fibre, 40 meg and 80 meg. And then obviously we're now in the decade of full fibre, where we're giving speeds of 100 to 900 meg. In a couple of weeks' time, we're going to launch 1.2 gig and 1.8 gig, so 1,800 megabits per second. And the technology itself is capable of going to 10 gigabits per second. And I'll make a prediction that for everyone in this room, it's the last big telecoms infrastructure upgrade that any of us will see. I think we'll all be in the ground by the time the next one comes around. So really, really significant rollout. So where are we up to? Well, OpenReach have rolled out to, I think as of December of 23, they've rolled out to 12.5 million premises. They're due to announce their latest update tomorrow, actually. Their BT PLC report comes out tomorrow. I think they'll be at over 14 million. So about half the country can get full fibre. You can see about just over 4 million have now taken it. So about 35% of the UK have taken that service. So again, if you've not yet taken full fibre, then again talk to Zen, talk to EBS and see if you can access that technology if it's of interest. They're going to go out to 26 million by December of 26, and I think they'll carry on then to 30 million. So we'll see every home and business in the UK with this technology. There's a bit of a misconception as well. So everyone says to me, but it's all just consumer, Steve, it's all just residential. Actually, built to 5% of the footprint's businesses. So about 600,000 businesses in the UK can actually get FTTP. And we see about 30% of our sales are for these full fibre services. So it's not just consumers, is the message. We talk a lot about speed, but one thing that we don't talk as much about that is interesting is about service. So this technology is a lot more reliable than the copper services we delivered in the past. So you can see here, we see about 60% reduction in the fault rate on full fibre versus copper. So it's much more reliable. And importantly as well, for anybody that suffered from storm damage on copper broadband, again, significantly better performance from storm. So once this is in, it's very reliable, it works really well, it's very scalable. Great step forward in technology. Here's a little bit of a snapshot as to what our customers are buying from us. So you can see if I go back to 2021, it was mainly 40 meg, 80 meg, 100 meg. That's now changed actually. So the purple green bars on the right-hand side shows us that 70% of our customers are taking more than 300 meg now, and about a third of them are taking the full gig product. So the demand for the speed is certainly there, and we certainly see that. A little bingo game for you. So this is a graph that plots our network traffic over the last few years in gigabits per second. So that's on the left 100 gig going up to nearly 500 gig. So that's 500,000 megabits per second. So quite a lot of usage there. And who can guess what are some of the peaks that have driven our network traffic over the last 3 years? So I'm thinking about particular events that had happened nationwide. And if you want to start me on 2020 on the left-hand side. Who wants to have a guess what that event could have been that drove our traffic? Lockdown? Was that you, Richard? Yeah. You know the answers. You can't answer them all. So yeah, Richard's right. So the first one was the 23rd of March 2020, a date that I'm sure is etched in most people in the room's memory, because that's the day that Boris Johnson stood up in front of the whole country, by the way, televised on terrestrial and satellite TV, and said that the whole country is going into lockdown. Pretty much everybody watched it back on iPlayer, probably in utter disbelief as what he was actually saying. So that caused a big spike in our network traffic at that moment in time. Next one. No? Okay, I'll tell you. It was streaming of gaming. So back in 2021, Microsoft and PlayStation launched a gaming update on the same evening, which caused a massive spike in our network traffic as those consoles decided to update their gaming. Next one, football. Good guess, that's correct. So it was actually Champions League and Amazon Prime. Again, streaming football matches, big spike in our network traffic. Interestingly, by the way, at this point, 50% of our customers are businesses. So despite the fact that we've got a lot of businesses on the network, what actually drives the traffic, people working from home, etc., is actually our home usage. Anyone want to guess at the last one? Okay, last one is gaming again. So Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, gaming updates over the last year have driven massive spikes in our network as people have been probably buying games consoles during COVID, and then they're taking advantage of it in the last year. So that's some of the traffic impact. And to give you some context, so we've upgraded our core network, which manages all that traffic in the last year from 800 gigabits per second, 800,000 meg, to 4.8 terabits, 4.8 million megabits per second. So we've got plenty of capacity to cope with these kind of events that occur. Okay, I've not talked about the altnets yet, so I've obviously talked a lot about OpenReach, so I thought I'd just touch on the altnets, and so these are alternative network providers who are rolling out full fibre in the UK, and you've probably seen some of these guys popping up in towns and villages and cities, digging up roads and laying full fibre cables, and I'd liken this to a game of roulette. So you build a network, and then you hope you can get enough customers on that network to make the economies and make the business model work. And I think where we are today is there's 100 altnets in the UK market, all building full fibre as well as OpenReach. I think it'll go one of three ways. I think some of them will survive and they'll get enough scale, they've got enough customers that it'll work for them. I think many of them will be acquired, and we'll see a huge amount of M&A activity over the next year. I imagine there'll be about 4 or 5 left in about 3 years' time. And I think, sadly, a number of them will, unfortunately, go out of business. They won't survive the competitive landscape that we're going to go through. Put a few of the names on the screen there. Zen currently works with CityFibre as our primary altnet today. We're in talks with pretty much all of them who are clambering to get us to sign up and sell their networks. So I think we'll do a few more, but yeah, we'll watch this space for some more altnets coming along soon. And then I thought I'd finish off with exploding cakes, because why not? So what this is all about is we did a campaign to our partners and our business customers recently to promote our lease line services. So this is where you can get the same speed upstream and downstream from your connection to the internet. And quite a few people often say to me, well, will this technology still exist in an area where you can get full fibre? And I think my view is actually it will, because you get the same speed up and down in simple terms, and also you get guarantees on those lease lines. So in the event of a problem, we can get engineers out more quickly than we can on full fibre. So I guess my message is that exploding cakes are here to stay. Onto the environment then, which is the last bit of the presentation. So yeah, as I say, Zen's a B Corp. Doing our bit for the planet is just as important as providing a great service to our customers and looking after our people. So I thought is that my cue? No, it's not. Good. So I just thought I'd share some of the work we've been doing. And I thought I'd start with this sort of sobering image, really, which is sadly, yet again, 2024 is the hottest year since records began. And there's a number of devastating climate events happening around the world, wildfires, flooding, droughts, hurricanes, it just carries on, and it will carry on. We've not yet reached a point where we're reversing this trend, so this will continue to happen. I don't believe for 1 minute that governments and policymakers are going to rescue us from this. I think the reality is that as business leaders and as people in our lives away from work, we've got to make choices. And those choices will dictate whether or not we change this picture going forward. So at Zen, we've tried to do our bit. We set up a team back in 2008, it was now, and we gave them the remit to say, look, this is a big problem. It almost feels like overwhelming, like where the heck do you start? But so we said, let's just chip away at it every year. Let's just try and do one or two things that make a difference. And we started really, really small. So we said, right, let's start recycling. Let's just start recycling in our building. That would be a good start. Let's switch our pay slips from paper to electronic. Another good step. Let's do double-sided printing. In fact, let's get rid of the printers because we don't need that. So we just sort of chipped away at it step by step. And then we took on some bigger challenges. So we got quite a big HQ at Zen. We employ 500 people. So we've actually got, and I think it's the image up at the top middle there, we've got 7,000 light bulbs in our HQ. That's a lot of light bulbs, let me tell you. So we've actually gone away and replaced all those light bulbs with LEDs. We've also put 670 solar panels on the roof of our HQ, again, to try and generate our own energy. We got a cardboard baler, which is this thing down here, that reduced the amount of collections for cardboard by 80% in our building. We upgraded all of our cooling in our data center, so the one on the right, to make it more energy efficient. We started to refurbish our equipment So I'm pleased to say a couple of months ago, 50% of the equipment we sent out was actually refurbished. We'd collected it, we'd spruced it back up and got it going back out again. And then we've quite recently had our net zero targets. So we've got a net zero target to get to that by 2040. Had that approved by the Science Based Targets Initiative, which is a kind of scheme to, again, do a bit for the environment. So we're doing quite a few things. We're not going to rest on our laurels though. So one mission I've got is to see less of these vans out on the roads. So, you know, we're responsible for some of this. You know, we're sending out thousands of broadband routers, pieces of plastic every month to customers. So why do we need to do that? When somebody switches provider, why can't we leave the box in the corner where it is? And doesn't matter which provider you're with, just switch it. So I've been lobbying Ofcom, I've been lobbying our competitors to say, come on guys, it's technically possible. We just need enough will and desire to do it. So I'm still working my way through it. I'm a year in, so and I'm determined. So we'll see where we go with that one. We've also been out planting some trees. So we have a partnership with a business called Karma Earth, and they actually take veterans and service leavers from the armed forces, and they do tree planting to try and get them back into employment. So we actually ran a scheme where we planted 10 trees for every order we took in certain areas. We went out 2 months ago and planted 2,000 trees. I learnt a new skill, by the way. So you stick your fork in and you twist it, and you stick your tree in, and then you do it really, really quickly. Got to go at a pace. So that was good fun. And actually, the other thing we did is when our customers recommend us to another colleague or friend, we used to give Amazon vouchers. So we said, right, rather than give Amazon vouchers, why don't we just plant some trees instead? So we said, right, every order that you recommend, we'll plant 100 trees out in Koala in Kenya through Very Tree. And we're going to be going out planting 12,500 trees actually later this year as a result of that initiative. So again, just another example of trying to do a little bit for the environment. And I'll finish off just by looking ahead a little bit. So as I look forward, I think there's more we can do. So we're going to start to label our products with the amount of emissions they generate, so we can try and encourage our customers to make a choice based on the emissions of the service, to try and encourage them to make greener choices. We're going to continue with our refurb work. We want to continue to encourage our staff to make the most environmentally friendly choices when they come to visit customers. We want to try and, again, reduce fossil fuel usage in our buildings. So, you know, we're continuing on this kind of mission to try to reduce our environmental impact. And, you know, today's event, if any of you like to talk about what we've done or, you know, want to chat about it any more, then really happy to talk to any of you at any point. And I think that was it from me. So, yeah, a couple of minutes to spare. So hopefully that's been useful for you all. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you.